Pro-Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. This evening's concert represents the climax of the first part of a major celebration in Birmingham of the composer, director and teacher Heiner Goebbels. In partnership with Arts Council England, the Cultural Olympiad, the Performing Rights Society Foundation, Goethe Institute, Host Foundation and the Birmingham and Midland Institute, Birmingham City University and Birmingham Conservatoire are proud to welcome Heiner Goebbels to this great city, which has a long association with the arts and especially music and theatre. Since the mid-19th century, when Mendelssohn could be heard performing next door at the Town Hall in the Birmingham Triennial Festival, music has been central to the life of this city. World-leading artists and ensembles that have emerged from Birmingham range from the City of Birmingham Symphony Orchestra and Birmingham Opera Company through to leading figures in popular music such as Duran Duran, UB40, Joan Armatrading, Soweto Kinch and Robert Plant. Mention should be made of the extraordinary contribution of Sir Simon Rattle, who expanded the range of the CBSO's work and under whose watch Birmingham Contemporary Music Group was formed from within the CBSO, with Sir Simon as expanding patron. Since those days, contemporary music has flourished here in Birmingham, embraced not only by the City of Birmingham Symphony Orchestra and Birmingham Contemporary Music Group, but by many others, including John T. Harrison's Birmingham Electroacoustic Sound Theatre at Birmingham University, and of course at our own Birmingham Conservatoire, from whom we have heard so much today. Founded in 1886 as part of the Birmingham and Midland Institute, Birmingham Conservatoire first flourished under the direction of musicians such as Sir Granville Bantock and Sir Edward Elgar, eventually emerging as a leading UK conservatoire as part of Birmingham City University, with Simon Rattle as its president and Peter Donohoe as its vice president. To recognise his own distinguished contribution to musical development, it is highly appropriate that we are this evening presenting Heiner Goebbels with the Honorary Award of Doctor of the University. I now call upon Professor David Saint, Acting Principal of Birmingham Conservatoire, to give the citation, and on the Pro-Vice-Chancellor, Sally Wesley, to confer the award.
Pro-Vice-Chancellor, in promoting the Frontiers and Goebbels Festival, Birmingham Conservatoire has chosen to celebrate the work of one of the world's most eminent composers and directors, recognised just this week with the International Ibsen Prize, regarded as the world's most prestigious prize for theatre. The festival is the first UK retrospective of Heiner's work, taking in ensemble pieces and radio art, and in June, we present the UK premiere at the Scenic Concert Walden with the Midlands Arts Centre alongside parts of its orchestral counterpart, surrogate cities. There is much more of this work to discover, in particular its staged work, yet what we've already experienced this week is inspirational and reflects both his extraordinary imagination and an unsurpassed attention to the detail of performance. In presenting him for the award of Honorary Doctorate of our university, we wish to demonstrate actively our admiration for his remarkable achievements. Heiner Goebbels was born in Neustadt, near Mannheim, in August 1952. He learned piano from the age of 5, and cello was his given instrument to complete a family piano trio alongside his older brothers, piano and violin. As an indication of his curiosity and broader musical interests, he would soon add guitar, saxophone and sampler to his arsenal of instruments. Likewise, alongside chamber music at home, he listened to pop, played numbers by the Beatles and the Beach Boys each day, the latter featuring in one of his sunniest works, Hashirigaki, and took a keen interest in contemporary arts as a regular visitor to the Documenta exhibitions in Kassel. Goebbels moved to Frankfurt in 1972, where he first studied sociology at the famous department established by Max Horkheimer and Theodor Adorno. He even lived a few doors away from the founder of critical musicology a few years earlier, in 1969. Adorno's one-time collaborator, the composer, wit, and politically concerned musician Hans Eisler, became a passionate interest, leading Goebbels to study music and begin performing, often playing cover versions of Eisler's songs and combining activism with performance, as with the so-called Left Radical Ring Band, which he co-founded. He would later pay his dues with Eisler material written for the Ensemble Moderne to mark the composer's centenary. In interviews, he is often asked about the role of politics in his music, to which he has replied that combining art with politics is like harnessing a horse to a car. The car doesn't run well, and the horse doesn't survive it either. Politics is never the subject of Goebbels' work, but, as in social life, it is part of the experience itself. With his then duo partner, Alfred Hart, he joined vocalist Crystal Randers and drummer Chris Cutler, incidentally the uncle of Joe Cutler, our head of composition, in creating the alternative rock group Cassiber. Their recordings remain landmarks in progressive music, notable also for their use of text, as in A Face We All Know, on text by Thomas Pynchon. With his keen interest in the performance of music, Goebbels began working in the theatre and with dance companies from the late 1970s. His meeting with the director and playwright Heiner Goebbels, considered one of the greatest dramatists of the late 20th century and an heir to Bertolt Brecht, was pivotal. As Eisler collaborated with Brecht, it's perhaps fitting that Goebbels and Müller too would work together to create some of the most outstanding works of music and theatre from the 1980s and 1990s, until Müller's death in 1995. We'll end tonight's performance with the Horatian, based on text by Heiner Müller. Goebbels' tribute to his friend, Black on White, based on text spoken by Poe, based on text by Poe spoken by Müller, is truly remarkable and was widely celebrated in making Goebbels more widely known to UK audiences after his performances at the Birmingham in the late 1990s. Goebbels developed a number of theatre pieces for radio, perfecting his film-like techniques of sound and text collage, montage, close-up, cut and dissolve that would reinvent the medium. We heard Shadow of the Landscape with Paul Argonauts this morning at the Electric Cinema, but we might also mention The Liberation of Prometheus, Volokolam's Skyway, and Schlievens Radio, amongst others. He first worked with Ensemble Moderne on a piece for dance with William Forsyth's company, creating Red Rum, which we heard performed so brilliantly last night by Tisabel. This began a long collaboration, including works such as La Jalousie, Black on White, and Eisler material. Heracles too was written for the Ensemble Ante Contemporain, and he followed this with his first orchestral work, Surrogate Cities, written for the Junge Deutsche Philharmonie in 1994. Goebbels has said that he is easily bored, accounting for his diverse works and accomplishments. Yet, what is also striking is his consistency both in the themes he addresses and in the way his pieces work. His concern is with the relations between things, not predominantly with the internal workings of his material. This relation between things includes us, the audience, as well as the performers, the space, lighting, text, sound, design, stage design, and costumes. From these experiences, he developed the scenic concept, for which he has become so widely celebrated. Goebbels has created astounding work after astounding work in this medium that he pioneered and has made his own, leading to over 50 major awards and honours. And we are delighted to add to this his first honorary doctorate. Notable works include The Man in the Elevator, or The Hapless Landing, Black on White, Max Black, Hash Irigaki, Erari Diaritiaka, and his performing installation, Stifters Dinge, the video of which we screened earlier today. In the symposium we ran yesterday at the Birmingham and Midland Institute, we heard from a lighting designer, choreographer, a sound arts specialist, several theatre makers, producers, directors, musicians, and composers. The breadth of his influence is truly extraordinary, reflected not only by the interest in his work amongst arts practitioners, but also in the diverse audiences for his work. His pieces have been performed at nearly all the major new music, jazz, and performing arts venues and festivals on all continents, and by leading performers, whilst approximately 20 CDs and DVDs of his works have been released, together with his book, Composition as Director. Last year, he was appointed director of the Ruhr Triennale, Germany's leading arts festival, with his first season opening on his 60th birthday in August, with John Cage's Euro Operas 1 and 2. Goebbels has excelled as a teacher too, as professor and later managing director of the Institute of Applied Theatre in Gießen, for which he has received Germany's highest accolade for higher education excellence. Amongst his students for one semester was Michael Walters, now Deputy Head of Composition here. Of the future for theatre, and in this we can include the performance of music, Goebbels has written, theatre needs to regain its status as an artwork, instead of being a way of presenting fixed narratives with a definable message. It should be able to give you something completely marvellous and completely inexplicable. Just so, and we will soon let the music and performance do the talking. As he marks his 60th year, we wish him well for many more years to come, and are proud to present Heiner Goebbels, a man and musician of great distinction, imagination, sensitivity and humour, for the award of Doctor at Birmingham City University, Honoris Causa.
And confer the award of Doctor of the University, Honoris Causa, upon Professor Heiner Goebbels. I invite the Chief Operating Officer to present the degree parchment and the commemorative medal. Honoris Causa, and I now invite Professor Goebbels to address the audience.
Chief Operating Officer, Pro-Vice Chancellor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for this great honor. I'm very proud, and thank you also for this wonderful citation. I'm very proud for receiving this doctorate, but I'm not pleased. until today I was proud about the fact that I'm the only professor at the Justus Liebig University in Gießen without a doctorate. And whenever, as part of the usual academic business, I was addressed as Professor Dr. Goebbels, I always insisted on the fact that I'm not. And not without a sort of inside satisfaction, since it was my unique selling point. I'm also not pleased because I can't use the script I have originally prepared for this speech, because I wanted to speak about the institutionalization of music, which is my main concern, the gravity, the inertia, the unquestionable conventions of the classical music field, which we are so much used to that we consider it as being natural and eternal. So I was prepared to say that some of my best friends and best musicians I met in my life even couldn't read music, nor write. And I wanted to ask, would they be accepted at a conservatoire with their laptops or turntables, self-built drum sets or 7-neck guitars? If they ever wanted, and I expected the answer no. But already on my way from the airport to this hotel across the street, picked up by two nice young composers from the CB, I got the disappointing news that you're already way ahead here, and you make all that possible in your composition forum. I don't know any conservatoire in Germany which invests in the unforeseeable future of what music and theatre might be one day, to take that risk and to enable the students to develop their own aesthetic and to prepare them for the complexity of our artistic future. So you bubbled me again. But I really appreciate that you gave me some days to speak about music here, and the various rehearsals and talks and meetings in which I was squeezed like a lemon. Speaking there about sound qualities, gestures, articulation, intensity, energy, a non-academical approach to scores, etc. With highly motivated colleagues, students, ensembles, members of the audience, etc. Which was a great experience. Thank you very much. And I rarely speak about music, I discovered when doing that here. Because I mostly speak about theatre, because our institute is an institute for theatre studies. I mostly speak about theatre, and by doing the opposite here, speaking about theatre, I start to forget what important role music always has in my work. So those days here made me clear again why in my music theatre I shift the classical theatrical parameters of intensity, presence and energy, I shift them completely towards the acoustic side and rather work with a visual absence. Obviously more than a visible expression, it is the musical one, the expression of sounds and voices, which leaves so much more space for the imagination of the spectators. You could even call it an acousmatic experience in a wider sense. Of course, you see in a concert where the sounds are coming from, but in opposite to theatre, you never know why. And that's your freedom as an audience. The great Russian theatre avant-gardist Meyerhold, he said already 100 years ago that a theatre director, first of all, should be a musician, even when the theatre is only about words. Not only because theatre has always to do with the melody of languages, with the rhythm of scenes, and with counterpoints between different medias and elements, but, as he said, a theatre director should be a musician in order to be able to stage the unspeakable. And that's why I think I should shut up now. Yeah.
That completes the formal element of tonight's proceedings. On behalf of everyone present, I would like to thank Professor Goebbels for sharing some of his thoughts and experiences with us this evening, for his kind encouragement for the work that we do here to carry on experimenting, for his reflections on future direction, and for the generosity he's shown us in giving us so much of his time to share these experiences with us over the last 2 days. The second part of the concert, having been enticed by La Jalousie in the first part, I'm sure we're all looking forward to it. The second part will commence shortly with the performance of Heiner Goebbels' Industry and Idleness. Thank you.